to get involved, and some of them that have been there a lot longer than you have obviously know a lot more. But I joined a book club that a few of my coworkers were in. One of my coworkers is really involved in the Des Moines Young Professionals group. I'm not a member, but I've gone to probably 6 or 7 different events with her, and that's been a really great way to sort of get involved in the community and things like that. So those types of groups I would definitely recommend.
So I live in Carroll. It's maybe 10, 12,000 people, and the average age is I'm pretty young to be in Carroll. So what I say is I'm pretty open-minded, and I've tried to develop. And you don't have to be my own age, but just try new things. I wasn't much of a volleyball player, and I found out Carroll people like to play volleyball. So now I'm in a few volleyball leagues, or slow pitch softball, or the Carroll Young Professionals Club, and it's the funniest thing. We have the Carroll Young Professionals Club. You got 24-year-olds and 45-year-olds, so we're all young. So just be open-minded and go from there. So yeah, Kurt, you young.
Can Michael and Andrew hear us now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so we'll let you guys introduce yourselves quick. If you could just tell us what you majored in while you were here in school, when you graduated, what you're doing now, and anything else that you think is important. Michael, if you want to go ahead and start.
Yep. So my name's Michael Doddy. I'm living up in the Twin Cities, Roseville, Minnesota. I graduated last year, 2014, with a double major in finance and marketing. And I work at Minneapolis Financial Group doing strategic financial planning. Andrew, you can go.
All right. My name is Andrew Allard. I graduated last spring of 2014 from the College of Engineering. I majored in construction engineering, and currently I'm working with a company called Burns & McDonnell. I was in Kansas City until about last week, and then I moved to Akron, Ohio. So I just completed that move. So
great. Well, we're glad that you guys are with us now. A question that I have is, what is the best piece of financial advice that you can give to recent graduates?
I guess I could take that one. So in my practice, I bring on clients, a lot of which this past year have been recent graduates, like myself, first step in their career. And the biggest thing is that they sit down and talk to someone about it and do something. I see so many people who, I have a 29-year-old brother who hasn't started like a Roth IRA, which seems crazy, but I tell people that if they can sit down and get some kind of saving plan devised, I don't care if it's $25 a month, I don't care if it's $500 a month, the time and our still good health and our age are something that we need to be taking advantage of, and to start something is the most important piece. And if in a year you got to adjust that, and whether that's add more or cut back, it's about getting started. And if you want specific like 401ks and IRAs and all that fun stuff, I can get into that, but I don't know if you guys are interested in any of that.
I would definitely agree with everything Michael said, and I know that when I first started working, I had a budget, and that was essentially it, and they were throwing out things like 401k and this is your pension, and everything was over my head. But I think the best thing that I did was seek help in explaining those things. Because then once you know the difference between, like Michael was saying, a Roth or a traditional, and what your company's maybe match is for your retirement, then you can take steps to ensure that you're saving smart, basically, and you're doing it on purpose, and you're maximizing what companies will do for you. So a lot of companies will match money that you put aside for retirement, and if you don't know what that match is, or you opt to not participate, you're like missing out on that. And so just asking questions right when you start. Don't feel like you're dumb for asking a question or not knowing what a financial term means. Just get in there and ask, because it's going to pay off so much more down the road.
All right, I guess I'll take the next question. I have a lot of professors right now, or a lot of other professionals, saying that we need to have LinkedIn accounts and start connecting with all of our classmates, all the other people that we know. Do you actually use your LinkedIn account, and if so, like, what do you actually use it for? Other than just like connecting with people that you know.
I can take that one, or briefly. So in my line of work, I'm trying to sit down with as many people as possible. If it's not for a business purpose, just marketing, networking is very important in that aspect. And there's I think two schools of thought on LinkedIn. Some people think it's silly and they're not going to use it, but the people who do use it and use it correctly, it can be a benefit. It's a good way to keep up with people in a more professional way, and you'll see when people are getting promotions, when you gotta give a person a call and say congratulations, or if they've moved jobs, stuff like that. So I think if you do use it correctly, you keep your profile up to date, and when people reach out to you for advice in a year after you're graduated, it's perfect for that kind of opportunity.
I would say I use LinkedIn, but not probably as well as I could or should. It's a tool, but I don't think it's, at least I don't use it as the end-all be-all of it. It's the only way I connect to people and the only way I reach out and find new accounts. I definitely use it to do my research, and it can be a good tool to start the connection. So if I look at somebody, they're like, oh, hey, you looked at me, who are you? And it'll kind of bring them recognition of who I am maybe, but it's not the only way that I reach out and find somebody.
When I was looking for a job and I got, an email from the coordinator who was setting up the interviews with a list of people who I'd be interviewing with, I immediately looked them up on LinkedIn and tried to sort of get an idea what they did within the company. That way I kind of knew more what I was walking into when I went into that interview, and that has helped me quite a bit. It also helped me look at other people who would be in similar roles that I would be in within that company if I took that job, and sort of maybe their progression or how long it's taken them to move up, to sort of get an idea of, what type of position am I walking into, and is there potential for upward mobility within this company? Well, it looks like, these people have moved, so maybe that would be an option for me too.
Yeah, I got a question. So it's starting to really hit me that I'm graduating and I'm gonna have to leave. So when did it hit you guys that you were graduating, and what were some of the things you had to make sure that you did before you left?
This is so when you get your full-time job, say a week after college, you're getting off your parents' insurance plan, you're maybe getting off your parents' cell phone plan, and there's a lot of other things that you're probably you're going to be on your own. So you just got to make sure that you get things set up, because the last thing I wanted to do was start my job on a Monday and have to get other things resolved while I'm trying to do my first week of work. So if you can graduate and get things set up, whether it's your insurance or your 401k through work, and understand the plans that you're going to be transitioning to, and even your cell phone bill, just making sure that you got things lined up so that way your first day of work you're feeling comfortable and you're feeling like you can do this and be successful.
I can speak on that for a second. I concur with Joe. So luckily for me, I got the word that I was getting my full-time job, and I accepted it the day before spring break last year. Needless to say, I had a good spring break. But that left me about 2 months, roughly, to plan before I started, and I took an extra month afterwards, so I didn't start until June. So I spent the next several weeks, because my capstone classes were winding down, put that on the side burner. I literally sat down with my parents and some of my friends and kind of planned out each and every step, whether it was from insurance, like Joe said, to your phone bill, how I was going to transfer over stuff from what my parents were taking care of to what I should be taking care of, and how I was going to get that done before I ended up showing up to work the first day.
And I don't know what side of that you meant, whether it was the logistical part of the finances and all that, but I mean from an emotional standpoint, when you kind of realize that you are no longer in college, I mean, I think the first bad day when you come home and you're like, you know, what is this? You kind of have like a come to Jesus moment where you're like, well, you know, that was a good 4 years, and you know, I'm only going to be doing this for 40, 50 years each week, 5 days a week, sometimes more. So, I mean, it definitely, there is a part where you kind of, and maybe it's just me, but I'm assuming most people had that moment where they're like, holy crap, kind of. So that's completely normal, and it's going to happen, and, you know, I think after that it's, you know, important that you kind of take a step back and realize that, you know, you obviously took a job for whatever reasons, and, you know, you're probably in the right place, and just to go with it and not harp on, you know, the past 4 years, because they were great, but you always have to move on.
Yeah, so I have another question. One thing that I'm looking to do post-graduation is get involved with my community. Have any of you gotten involved in any leadership roles or any sort of volunteer opportunities in your local communities at all?
I'm doing the United Way Board in Carroll County, and I started last year, just moved there, and I helped out with the golf outing, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do in Carroll, but when I was asked to, you know, be on the board, it was a great way, and I've only been doing it for 3 months now, but it's a great way to meet new people. I mean, and the fun thing about when you get into your career is they're not all your age, and you meet people that will give you skills that you're going to learn and are going to give you advice as you go throughout your own life because they've lived it. So yeah, I really encourage you to, you know, try new things and get outside your box. Sometimes you just gotta, you know, challenge yourself a little bit and do things that, just like college. When you start college, yeah, at the end of the 4 years in college, you're like, wow, I really did all that stuff. I never would have thought of that, you know, my freshman year, and then you're a senior looking back and like, geez, what was I thinking? But that's kind of the way when you get into your career mode. I mean, you do things you might not think you'd ever do. There.
Yeah, and I think, Joe, you probably touched on this earlier with your sand volleyball group, but like parks and rec commissions within cities are an amazing way to meet people. I've played sand volleyball through Ames Parks and Rec for the past 2 summers, and it's been a great way to meet people on other teams and just when you're looking for a substitute, calling one another's friends, and it's a lot of fun. And I also taught swimming lessons at my gym, which is a great way to meet people outside of your age group too. And I think I found that it's okay to have friends that are not, you know, within 2 years of me, age-wise, and that's been really fun too. Just you know, becoming friends with people from other generations and things like that.
Okay, I have a question. So outside of your academic experience, what's one thing that you did at Iowa State or experienced at Iowa State that you marketed when you were going into your first job or when you were interviewing for jobs?
For me, a big part of what I was going into was your interpersonal relations and talking to people, and a big part of what I talked about was my fraternity experience and how that prepared me from dealing with, you know, people who were alumni who were successful, established, to dealing with new members, to dealing with people you didn't necessarily always get along with and you kind of would butt heads, and having that to fall back on and talk about, and the experiences of, you know, this is real stuff, this isn't textbook kind of things really kind of helped me in my interview process and in my looking for a right fit for the job I was looking for.
Yeah, when it came to like behavioral questions in an interview setting, I think that the thing I leveraged the most was my experiences within the Greek community and leadership roles and problem solving and working with others, and then also teamwork during courses if there was group projects, and then as well as internship experiences are the three things that I basically used in all of my behavioral questions in one way or another.
I have a question. Do any of you make it to any, well, other than the one that's in games, make it to any game watches in your area? Are those coordinated or just word of mouth type things? How does that work?
The game's pretty small, so. Like 6 of us.
Living in Des Moines too, I mean, we haven't had a ton of game watches because we're so close to Ames, but I know we've done some more events of just get-togethers and alumni get-togethers or things like that. I have attended some of those, and they've been absolutely awesome. The staff puts on a great event, and there's been a ton of people actually in support in Des Moines for it. So.
Up in Minneapolis, they have game watches at Joe Sensors, I believe both in Bloomington and Roseville, but a lot of younger people also go to Uptown Tavern, so it is nice to, on a whether it's Saturday or a big Monday game, to go and watch there. And even if it's not a coordinated, organized watch party, usually there's enough people in the city that you've met or talked to that want to get together and watch the game.
I can speak towards Kansas City. I know there's 3 or 4 places that rotate every week. There's a local alumni association that has a group of people that specifically work on scheduling with the places and sending out emails to make sure that all the alumni from Iowa State are invited, make sure they know what time and place. And a couple of the big ones in Kansas City are McFadden's, which is in the Power and Light District, right across from the Sprint Center. So if you go to the Big 12 tournament, that's probably where you'll find, well, anywhere in the Power and Light District, you'll find Iowa State fans. And in Westport, which is more of the college area, Kelly's.
I got a question. While you're in college, you make a lot of great relationships with a lot of different people. When you graduate, everyone moves everywhere across the country, changes states. How do you stay in contact with those close friends?
So yeah, when I was in undergrad, I was in a fraternity as well. So we use like a group me, and then we also use like Facebook Messenger, and we have an email server. I mean, even today, I got an email today that a good friend of mine, his dad is alien from cancer. So it's really nice to continue to stay in contact with your friends that you really, appreciate, cherish, and possibly even pray for. To just stay in contact, and how fast does it take to say 144 characters on a text messages or even a quick email? And what's really neat is even when you see older alumni, like I've seen my dad, he'll email some guys back from 1982, and he still talks to 20, 30 guys that they were in college 30 years ago. So it's really neat, and I think it's something that I'm going to continue to want to do for the rest of my life. So staying in contact with good friends it'll really help out.
I would say after being out for a little bit, communication is definitely less than I would ever like. I mean, I used to hang out with these people almost every night or every other night. So that's been a transition. That is a transition when you get out. It's like, oh, shoot, we can't go out, run to the bar really quick, or I won't see them tonight. But we've done birthday events where it's either my birthday or somebody else's. You go, we'll all meet in that city and hang out for the night. Or as we've gotten older, that's gotten a little bit less. But definitely for weddings, any event, if they're coming through town, I'll usually get a Facebook message. Hey, I'm going to be here tonight. Can you meet me? I mean, any little excuse to get together is what we do, even though our communication's not as frequent as we all like.
For me, my friends and I utilize Google Hangouts all the time, whether it's just an ongoing, almost like texting conversation with the app, or we also have a standing date every other Sunday that's just on the calendar till infinity. And out of the 8 of us, whoever can go just shows up, and sometimes it's 2 of us just video chatting, and sometimes it's all 8 of us video chatting. So that's really nice because that's always just on the calendar, and just always have every other Sunday night.
Yeah, just pick up the phone and call. I mean, sometimes you get so, busy with work and everything that's going on with your first year that sometimes it gets hard, but, it's just a matter of taking 5-10 minutes, calling someone, whether they're your really close friend or, someone that, you're pretty good friends with, but just, you move to different cities, all that. People really enjoy it, and I think it's a great way to stay connected. So when you do see each other at weddings and all that stuff, it doesn't feel like, you guys left, when you guys graduated and never talked again. So.
I have a question. So they say college is the best 4 years of your life, or is there something we actually have to look forward to after we graduate?
I got it. All right, I remember going to college, because it wasn't that long ago, and you go to Hy-Vee, and you get like Hy-Vee Chinese, and you get like $10 for the groceries, and you spend like $20. You're like, $20. The one nice thing is when you graduate, $20 is not as bad when you're graduated and have a full-time job and you get bi-weekly paychecks than when you were in college. So there is a nice part of making money, but I will agree that the best 4 years is probably going to be college.
Oh, man. I'll go with I'll stick with college. It is cool having money, and maybe it'll be cool when we get to retirement. I don't know. But for right now, I'm going to go with college.
I would say you have to look forward to actually having money to have a vacation. Vacation doesn't include driving to the moon and seeing things. It actually can include going somewhere tropical, like the Caribbean. I mean, something to look forward to is definitely having that money. It might not be a ton, but you still have a discretionary income to afford things.
Especially when your work pays for that Caribbean trip. That's really nice.
I remember my first week on the job, and they weren't really prepared to have me yet, and so I had nothing to do. And I literally came home like after day 3, and I was like, there has got to be something better about this, or why would people do this for their whole lives? Because I hate this right now. I can't imagine doing this for how many more years. But once I got into the swing of things and I actually started working and doing something that I enjoyed, it was a lot better. And I agree that college was awesome because I've never had any other time in my life where I could be like living and surrounded by my friends all the time. But yes, being able to afford to go visit your friends in Ohio and DC, that's a perk, definitely. So even though you are moving away, you probably enjoy quality time together a little better than you can with Jeff's pizza or something for a slice. You can, you go on a vacation together.
Okay, so you guys mentioned that the vacation thing was kind of nice. What can we expect from future employers with regards to paid time off?
Like, it all depends on where you work. Usually you start the first 2 years, you're going to get, say, 15 days of PTO. And then after 2 years, you get 20. But it's really going to depend on whoever you work for. I mean, if say you're going to be a teacher, you get your summers off and you get Christmas and Easter, and those are great. But you get 2 days throughout the school year, so you get 2 full days to pick and choose where you want to take days off. So it kind of depends on where you're working, and then there's some other companies that will allow you to take more days off, but you don't get paid. So I wouldn't do that.
I would say I got the 2-week, starting for retail, but then I couldn't take Christmas Eve off. That was, you had to work it, which sucks. So if you don't want to work the holidays or things, that would be something I'd definitely ask, because I got 2 weeks, but I still had blackout dates, if you call it that you can't take off.
I've kind of gotten that standard as well. But companies fluctuate with how many holidays they have. The first place I worked had 11 holidays a year, and now I have 9 holidays a year. But I also have PTO now, whereas before I had sick time and vacation time. And I think the PTO, I don't know how you guys feel, but I think PTO is almost a little nicer, because when you take a day off, coworkers can't question whether or not, did they really go to the doctor today, or are they really sick? It's your PTO. You can use it for whatever you want. And so that's, I really like that. No reason to feel like you owe someone an explanation, because it's all you can.
One thing I found out with PTO, and there's so many jobs out there that it's not 8 to 5, and you're on the phone a lot, you're on email, and I think as hopefully we get older, we get better at this, but sometimes you just got to put the phone away, put the email away, and that's something I'm trying to get better at, and that's something that's probably been my biggest struggle of sometimes when you want to take a day off, take a real day off and don't answer the phone, and that's something that I think any college student is going to struggle with right getting into the career.
I kind of have a question more for Michael. I was just wondering how much is like a percentage-wise of your monthly paycheck that you use for your savings and like your 401k?
This is going to depend on your situation. Some people come out of college, having a lot of student loans. Some people don't. So it's going to depend on what you can do financially. And when I sit down with someone, everyone wants to get a plan started, but you ultimately have to see if it's going to be suitable. And that goes back to having some kind of budget. It goes back to knowing what you're paying on your loans, your car payments, your insurance, rent, all that kind of stuff, to see, at the end of the day, how much do I have left? And then with that money, how are we going to best allocate that? First, we always look at 401k, because most times, if you can get any kind of match, that's the easiest advice anyone can give. That's free money. You should be taking advantage, at least up to the match every time you can, and it makes sense for you, because there's not anywhere else that's going to be giving you free money. But still, if that's they're doing 3 or 5%, but you can't afford to do that in the first year, then don't do that. Just to say you're in a 401k, because ultimately you're going to be in a worse position in a year because you were trying to make it fit the budget. But then from there, after the match, let's say it is 5%, but you ideally know you can do 10%. Then we look at, as a young person, starting a Roth IRA and having so many more options in terms of investment opportunities to invest, and that can, you can do that pretty easily with any kind of individual like myself, and that's going to give you just a better opportunity to get diversified, get exposures that are outside of the 10 or 15 options that are usually in a 401k, and allow for a little bit more customization in what you're trying to do. But unfortunately, there is no great one answer for what you should be trying to do. You should be trying to save as much as you can that fits the budget. And you also can't forget about your cash reserves. A lot of people forget that they should have 2 to 3 months worth of income saved up in cash in case something does happen to them. But after that, that's when you want to start looking at investing in your retirement options, your short-term investments, all that kind of stuff.
Okay, I have another question. Jessa, you mentioned at the very beginning, you work 8 to 5 and you find it hard to find time to go to the grocery store or whatever. So how do you kind of manage that work-life balance?
I guess now I'm now, I definitely take advantage of using the location that we're at over my lunch hour. I'm constantly running to the bank running to the library quick to return something and whatnot, and that's been really convenient. But I mean, just I guess time management all around. You know, I'm the night before I go to work, I'm packing my bag for the next day and packing a lunch, things that I never did till 5 minutes before I went to class in college. Because I'm just, you know, having to.
I have to agree. One of the things that helps if you can get your employer that will let you go to the dentist, take that time, or go to the doctor, that helps out a lot because, as you all know, doctors and dentists are there from 8 to 5, and they don't like to work longer or later or earlier. So if you do have an employer that can help out with that, take advantage of those opportunities.
What I've been trying to do to kind of get that work-life balance is if I work a Saturday, just because I'm a sales rep, so I plan my own schedule. If I work a Saturday because I'm working in the field or putting a plot in or just on a sales call, maybe that next Friday afternoon, it's nice out like tonight, or like today, I'm going to go golfing. So I'll go golfing. Just kind of reward yourself for working hard. And if you feel like, heck, I've had a great week, it's Thursday, and it's 10 o'clock on Friday, I'm going to go golf at noon. I'm going to go golf. So make sure you get the job done first, but you can always reward yourself.
I think you must have a much more flexible schedule than us. 'Cause I might not have a job if I just took off on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay, so Michael mentioned earlier kind of your budget. Do any of you make room in your budget for, say, for instance, donating back to the university or to a charity or to a local group? If so, what is that, and how did you decide to do that?
I can take that one. Oh. Okay. So when I joined Burns McDonnell, one of the main things that they work on is recruitment. Obviously, they want great recruits from, obviously, Iowa State. And one way they do that is by donating money back to the universities that they recruit from. So most of you know the Marston Hall renovation that's going on in the College of Engineering. My company has donated a lot of money towards that and challenged all of our Iowa State grads that work for the company to match what the company provided. So that's what I provided and planned it out through the Iowa State Foundation, and they give you a form, and I made sure that fit my budget first and then separated everything out to make sure that works afterwards.
Yeah, similar type deal. Company I work for does a company match, does 50% or 100% of what I put in. So I try to do kind of a 10% rule. But I like to give money to things that give back to me. So whether it's like your alumni association or Greek organizations or any other organization you're involved in at school, I don't know, it makes you feel good, but it also, I mean, they're the reason you're there. You have that job and you're getting that paycheck.
And my company kind of has a similar thing where they'll match, and they have a really good partnership right away. And once about every quarter, they'll hit everybody up for funds and with that bonus that says we'll match it. And so I've donated in the past, and in certain quarters when I feel like, hey, our budget's a little tight, we have a great option to volunteer. We have a list of volunteers. So I think if you feel like you can't fit it into your budget, there are other ways to give back, and I think sometimes time is valuable in some cases. So that's been kind of nice. So you can kind of choose what do you have more of right now, time or money.
Okay, I have a question. What do you guys regret not doing in your final months as an undergrad?
I would say, I'll chime in on this one. I would say saving a little bit of money. I graduated a semester early, and so I was really sad that I that unhappy. I mean, I'm saving money for college, at college, but I was also sad that I was leaving my friends early. So I, just with full disclosure, ended up maxing out my credit card at my last semester at Iowa State. And I was paying that thing off for, 3 years, I think, straight afterwards. It took me forever to pay it off. Not that it wasn't worth it, but I wish I would have saved a little bit more money and budgeted my last semester instead of hard.
I wish I would have prepared a financial plan. I graduated college, I did a 401k, and I had a savings account. And that was it. Savings, checking, and a 401k. And I really wish I would have met a guy like Michael early and, build a plan before you get that first paycheck. So then you're not scrambling when you're trying to work your butt off to prove to your boss that you're worth why you got your paycheck. And you're trying to save money, but you're trying to put it in different areas and build that financial plan 3 months before you start your first job. Whether it's a 401k, a Roth IRA, or life insurance, or a brokerage account, or a plan to pay off your student loans. Wherever you're at in your life financially, just build that plan.
Okay. I guess I have one. How often do you guys talk to your parents and family members? How do you make time for them?
When I was living in Kansas City, at least, I talked to my parents or my mom probably about once a week, every Sunday night, or when I had a day off during the week. We had just kind of a weekly recap session because I was in Kansas City, new city, not many friends, and so we literally talked all the time. Now that I live back in Des Moines, my family also lives in Des Moines. I wouldn't say I talk to them on the phone as much. We still communicate and see each other, but it's a little bit of a different relationship.
I'm kind of saying I talk to my mom about once a week on the phone. My dad is and then I talk to my brothers a lot. One of my brothers works, so we got each other during the day, like 5 or 6 times. Eat lunch together maybe twice a week. Sometimes it's a little too too much communication. You're just but that's kind of, I think it's always great to have at least one family member that you're constantly talking to. Oh, mom told us to this weekend, and so kind of for them instead of taking everybody from the family.
Okay, I have another question. So I can't remember who just asked it, but they said, what did you wish you'd done in your final months? I want to ask that question, but more aimed towards, maybe Iowa State in particular, more social things versus financial things.
I remember looking back and being like, you know what, I never went to, any of the gymnastics or wrestling meets or anything like that while I was here. I did basketball and football games because those are, big ones, right, that I was to. And now, since I got around I never even went to those, and I think my freshman year was free. Or that one thing we took working whatever, and then I think that was
I would say the same thing. More activities. Take advantage of some of the guest speakers like this, or MU band stuff was still there. But any of those kind of activities that were free, and I wish I would have definitely taken.
I think from some of the stuff, you do kind of the same things for 4 years. You hang out with the same people. You go to the same places. I kind of wish I would have said yes to things I'd usually said no to, and said no to some of the things I always said yes to, because I found myself I do love Estas, but I'd go there every weekend. I wish someone would have dragged me out to Thumbs or Mother's a couple times. I never went to stomping grounds. I don't know how that's possible, but just silly things like that I know I hadn't done, but because you get so stuck and like you feel like you got a month left, you got to do everything your way, that you kind of stop opening up to fun experiences. I'd say be open to trying something new, even if it is your last week and it might not involve alcohol.
That's very true. I never went to West Street Building until after I graduated, and
And you can't really change it now since it's already the last semester, but if I would have done it over, I would have taken a few different courses in my last semester that, I'm not going to say challenged me more, but maybe would prepare me for the next step. And maybe I just wanted to take them, and it would probably just be me. None of my friends would have done it, but I could have still taken the class that I wanted to take. And if you're in that situation where you get some extra credits that you can just pick and choose, so if there's any juniors here, make that last semester what you want it to be with classes too.
Okay, so we'll all be graduating, and obviously we'll be on a budget. What have you guys found to be like huge savers for you? Whether it's using Netflix instead of cable, carpooling instead of driving your own car. What have you done to save money?
I can go. I saved money a lot. I didn't get cable. I decided that wasn't the expense I wanted to spend money on, so instead I just got the better internet package or whatever, so I had faster internet, and I ended up using that for everything. I found Hulu, and I found other sites where I could watch TV for free or catch up on shows or things like that, and that was my cost savers. Plus, I also still lived on a college budget food-wise. I mean, I ate cereal a lot, and just cheaply, just so I could kind of have extra money in other areas.
I use automatic deposits for all my extra money. So I try to make my budget hurt me a little bit, to the point where I know I have this much money I can spend on groceries, on traveling, on weddings, on bachelor parties, on things that you do when you graduate. Because when you're 23 to 30, you're going to have tons of weddings, you're going to have tons of bachelor parties or bachelorette parties, and it costs a lot of money. So know what you can spend, and then the rest, have it automatically deposited out of your account, whether it's a brokerage account or your 401k or like a savings account where you can't touch it, and it's going to take you to have to go through some loops to go get that savings account money. Because if you have a card that you can use from that savings account, it's not going to be a savings account. So make your budget hurt you a little bit, and you'll save the money.
I think one way that little ways that I save money each month are, I'm a big reader, and so instead of going and buying all my books on Amazon for my Kindle, you could put it in the Ames Public Library or the Des Moines Public Library, and all you need to do is go onto their website. In Iowa, it's called Builder, and select a library book, and it downloads their Amazon stuff. And then because of that, Amazon thinks that I'm getting all these books from them, and they send me credit and things like that. So even though I'm reading free books from the library, they'll send me credits for apps and stuff. And I also do, I don't know if I said this, but I commute from Ames to Des Moines. And the Des Moines Area Regional Transportation DART has a van share program and also a carpool program. So I've used their van share program for the past a little over 2 years, and it costs $106 a month to go to and from Des Moines and back every single day, and it's a guaranteed ride there, even in bad weather. So that's been a huge saver for me. That would be with a lot of wear and tear.
I think also don't get caught up in, you do get those first couple paychecks, you feel like you're feeling good because you have money. But then, you go to the bar and, you got to realize that your budget is different than your buddy's budget working at a completely different company. Because, where they might want to go, out every night and spend a couple $100, that's fine if you want to do that. But if your budget says you're not going to do that because you're saving for retirement, you have your 401k, you are taking care of your own insurance, then, make sure in that sense that you're not trying to make your budget look more like someone else's just because they feel like they want to spend money and not save it.
Okay, I'll take the next question. This one's a little bit more personal. I would say in college, dating is a little bit different than I'm guessing out in the real world. If you're Greek, your parents are in a sorority or fraternity. You can go out to the bars, you see them all the time, like, oh, hey, when you get, when you move away, you don't have as many friends, what is dating like in other cities? What is dating like not in college?
Okay. Full disclosure here. Dating is not obviously the same as it was in college. It's very easy to go out and have friends of friends and meet new people or still find people to date. It was a little bit harder, definitely, when I moved to Kansas City because I was working all the time. You don't want to date your coworkers because you work with them every day, and that's just awkward, let's be honest. So finding people was a little bit more difficult. You would maybe date friends of coworkers, which still was kind of odd because you got them in the bag. So, again, in full disclosure, I ended up meeting my fiance now on Match.com. Greatest thing I've ever done in my whole entire life. Did not want to do it because I went to college and I had all these friends and it all worked out great. But then I got into the real world and meeting somebody at the grocery store is awkward when you go up and say, hi, my name's Marissa. I like that orange in your hand. I mean, like, what do you say to somebody when you meet them? Or in the gym, you don't want to creep on somebody because you work out, or you don't want somebody creeping on you. You're trying to work out and move on with your life. So I found online dating was scary, but it was something that I ended up doing and found somebody.
I'm married as well, but we went to 2 weddings so far this year. Well, I guess since last November, and they both met online. So I think that's, I honestly, I think that's how a lot of my friends are.
We're going to a wedding this summer. They met on Tinder, so it must work.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, dating's a little different in Carroll, Iowa. So you got a lot of like Asian women that maybe already married and have kids or something like that. But I met my girlfriend watching a basketball game in Carroll, and she was the first week there. And the craziest thing is, she went to Iowa State. I didn't know her at Iowa State, and she went to this Catholic school in Iowa. So sometimes it's a really small world, and sometimes it works out. But don't try Florida. I probably did that in college, but
Well, thank you for your answers. Next question for you here. Curious, being young adults in the workplace, I'm assuming you work with a lot of different people who are older than you, from different generations, maybe different mindsets. If you have any advice or strategies that you've developed so far as working with an older generation.
I think what helped me the most get to know an older generation when I first started working was I kind of like became your IT person. Literally any question they had about your second Word, Excel, anything. And it was like I was the new IT person. I was everybody's best friend. In reality, I don't even know that I would call myself an advanced user in a room like this. You guys should probably all know me up. But that was how I sort of, like, I don't know, sort of started my relationship with people. I'm fortunate now because I think I have 2 coworkers who are younger than me, and then I have 6 that are all my age. So that's been really, I've been really supportive of me because it's great to learn about. But I didn't find it that, I don't know, maybe it is that big of a challenge getting to know them. They're pretty open, and like I said, when you help them out with their IT issues.
like in my industry, yeah, my average client's about 60 years old. And then like on my sales team, the average age of the sales reps are about 50. So what I learned quickly is you really got to prove yourself, because they look at you as that young hotshot guy or girl, and they're just trying to take over the world like this. So be patient, ask questions, and prove yourself, because then you will become an IT person. I will turn on computers to get the people I work.
Does anyone have any further questions? Okay, so I'll finish with my favorite question. When you each tell people that you graduated from Iowa State University, what is it that makes you most proud to say that you did that? I know it's a loaded question.
I look at just the media right now. Iowa State is in a great image right now. We're working as a school. Our faculty's growing. We've got a hell of a basketball program. But, I mean, the football team's going to go 10-2 next year. I mean, we're we're up and coming. And I mean, look at the competitor in Southeast Iowa. There's no AIB, so we'll see. It's fun. I think it's fun. I mean, we're all competitive. We all love Iowa State. So, be proud of it when you say it.
I agree. I just kind of look at where a lot of my classmates have ended up, and it's just so cool to see what they've done. I'm really proud of them, and then when I get to say, you know, we're all from the same university, and like, okay, you know, the great things that we've done. You know, sort of every time I say it, I kind of like think about our people.
I would say pride definitely comes with friendships and seeing where my friends have landed. A lot of them have careers, good careers, ones that they're happy with, and have the ability to excel in. I'd also say that I'm very proud of the teacher and the teachers that I've had, I guess. We maybe have them talk all the time, but I know that if I ever needed something, I could contact any one of my advisors or teachers. They would still say, oh yeah, here, let me get you in contact with somebody that works in this area. So not only do I have support from my friends, but I still feel like I have support of the faculty. If I ever called them up or emailed them up, that they would still be there and help me out. So that's a pretty cool thing.
For myself, you know, I was originally from Minnesota, so coming back here and seeing friends who, you know, might have known I was going there, or you know, might have forgotten, or, you know, family members, family acquaintances, like people you just know. You know, when I got downtown and you had the power suit on and you were feeling good about the career and you know, everything you had done, and when they ask you, you know, where'd you go again, and you say Iowa State, you know, that's that kind of fun thing to do, because you know that's why you're there. That's why you're, you know, at this job, in the suit, in the position you're at, and why you can say that. I went out of state, I did all this, and I'm back, and you know, prepared to start my career, start my life, and do so confidently. So.
Andrew, do you want to answer?
Man, that is a really loaded question. Michael touched on a little bit about it, just the reputation that Iowa State has and what it carries with while you traverse the country, wherever you go. Specifically for me, to Kansas City and Ohio. Like Michael said, when you introduce yourself and you say you're from Iowa State, I can't count the number of people that have kind of given me the shock and awe face, like, wow, they automatically like understand that I belong there, that I earned my way there, and it's really cool to see that coming from small town Iowa, not knowing anything or anyone, and being able to be a presence in a room full of project managers, specifically to me, and like these people that run projects and our clients that want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on your say. So it means a lot, kind of internally. So.
Very good. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions, unless there's a last-second one. Please help me with a round of applause for all of our panelists. Michael and Andrew, thank you so much for being patient with us. We really appreciate it. Please help yourself to food. Afterwards, we have a lot of it left.